Everybody, welcome into week 5 of my ongoing college football pick'em series. These games are based on ESPN's college football pick'em game. So let's get into the games this week. We've got a lot of great games to get into. Here we go. First game on the docket, it's the big noon kickoff on Fox. It's number 4 Michigan versus Iowa. Michigan is off to a 4-0 start, and they are coming off their first legitimate test of the season. Quarterback J.J. McCarthy has been playing very well as he has yet to throw an interception, and Michigan's rushing attack has been very strong, ranking number 11 in the nation in rushing yards per game. The Wolverines are playing very efficiently in all 3 phases of the game, and they look to continue their dominance in their first game away from Ann Arbor. Iowa's offensive woes continue as the Hawkeyes are ranked outside the top 100 in both passing and rushing yards per game. This team is averaging just 17 points per game, and quarterback Spencer Petras is currently posting a QBR of 11.6. And the defense for Iowa has been playing very well, however, allowing an average of 5.8 points per game, which is the best in the country. Iowa's defense and special teams have helped to put the Hawkeyes in position to win games. ESPN's Football Power Index gives Michigan a 76.8% chance to win this game, and I'm going to agree with the FPI as I will take Michigan to get the win on the road. Our next game on the docket is number 7 Kentucky versus number 14 Ole Miss. This one was a noon kickoff, and it can be seen on ESPN. Kentucky moves to 4-0 after a close victory over Northern Illinois last week. The Wildcats' offense is averaging nearly 300 yards per game through the air. However, their run game has been more stagnant, averaging 81.5 yards per game. The Wildcats' starting running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. is expected to return to the lineup this week. This will be the first time we have seen him this season. On defense, the Wildcats are giving up an average of 13 points per game, which is 11th best in the country. Ole Miss has been running the ball as well as anyone. The Rebels are currently 4th in the country in rushing yards per game, averaging 280.8 yards per game on the ground. On defense, the Rebels are allowing an average of 10 points per game, which ranks 6th in the nation. So we have 2 very talented defenses and 2 offenses that excel doing different things, so we'll have to see which defense does a better job at shutting down the other offense's strength. According to the Football Power Index from ESPN, Ole Miss has a 78.5% chance to win this game, but I'm going to go with the Wildcats. I will take Kentucky to go in here and get an impressive road win and add to their resume. Our next game on the docket is number 18 Oklahoma versus TCU. This one is a noon game and can be seen on ABC. Oklahoma is looking to rebound from an upset loss last week to Kansas State. The offense for the Sooners has played well, as transfer quarterback Dillon Gabriel has yet to throw an interception and is top 20 in the nation in QBR. The Sooners' rushing attack is also 12th in the nation in rushing yards per game. However, Oklahoma's defense did struggle last week, but they had been dominant up to that point. Hopefully, for Sooner fans, that was just a minor setback for this team and they get back on track. But surprisingly, with Brent Venables as head coach, the defense was the issue last week outside of the offense. The offense played fine. Hopefully, the Sooners can get these defensive struggles under control. Taking a look at the Horned Frogs, TCU has remained undefeated so far, but this will be their biggest test to date. The Horned Frogs offense is one of the most efficient in the country. They rank 3rd in offensive efficiency according to ESPN's FPI. TCU's defense could be a vulnerable area for this team. The Horned Frogs currently rank outside the top 50 in points per game allowed. This could be a classic Big 12 shootout and offensive showdown. Quarterback Dillon Gabriel for Oklahoma and quarterback... I forget the quarterback for TCU's name. But both are putting up impressive numbers and playing well so far. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Oklahoma has a 65.5% chance to win this game, and I'm going to agree with the FPI. I think the Sooners will bounce back and they will get the win, but I think this should be a good game and might be closer than people expect. Our next matchup is number 9 Oklahoma State versus number 16 Baylor. This one is a 3:30 game and can be seen on Fox. Oklahoma State is fresh off their bye week. The passing attack for the Cowboys has been impressive. Led by quarterback Spencer Sanders, the Cowboys offense is averaging 348 passing yards per game. That is ninth in the country. On the defensive side of the ball, the Cowboys are ranked 8th in the Big 12 in yards allowed per game. With potential shortcomings on defense, the Cowboys could find themselves in an offensive shootout. Typically, Mike Gundy coached teams, they are better on the offensive side of the ball, and with the loss of Jim Knowles this offseason, the Cowboys are still adjusting with new defensive staff in place. Looking at Baylor, Baylor is coming off a road win versus Iowa State that required a lot of gritty toughness. The Bears have been effective in running the ball this season. They are averaging over 200 yards per game on the ground. On defense, Baylor is as strong as usual. The defensive line is full of talent and has played well so far as they are second in the conference in sacks. Getting effective pressure will be key to a Baylor victory. If they can disrupt Spencer Sanders and affect his timing and rhythm, the Bears will have a shot in this one. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Baylor has a 65.3% chance to win this game, and I'm going to agree with the FPI as I will take Baylor to get the win at home. The next game on the docket is number 22 Wake Forest versus number 23 Florida State, and this is a 3:30 game on ABC. Wake Forest is coming off a tough double overtime loss to Clemson. The Demon Deacons have been effective at scoring points and passing the ball. This offense is averaging over 40 points per game, and they rank inside the top 20 in passing yards per game. The return of Sam Hartman has largely been helpful in their passing game. However, the running game for the Demon Deacons has struggled to get going. On the defensive side of the ball for Wake Forest, they are giving up over 30 points per game, and they have found themselves in some close games in the last 2 weeks. Looking at Florida State, they are off to their first 4-0 start for the first time since 2015. Florida State's offense has been very balanced so far. The running game has been impressive as the Seminoles are averaging over 200 yards per game, but they have shown an ability to move the ball through the air as well. On defense for Florida State, they are one of the best in the ACC. They rank top 5 in the conference in points per game allowed and yards per game allowed, as well as in sacks. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Florida State has a 73.4% chance to win this game, and I'm going to agree with the Football Power Index as I will take the Seminoles to get a big win at home. It's always good when you see a brand like Florida State becoming relevant again and starting to play good again, so I hope Florida State can have as much success as possible. The next game on the docket is Iowa State versus Kansas, aka America's team. This one is at 3:30 kickoff and it can be seen on ESPN2. Iowa State is coming off a tough-fought defeat against Baylor. The Cyclones' offense has been fairly pedestrian so far, averaging about 30 points per game. This team has won by scoring a lot of points, and they've won by scoring very few. By and large, this team has found ways to win. On the defensive side of the ball, the Cyclones have been very productive. They lead the Big 12 in points allowed per game and yards allowed per game. Last week, they were down in the fourth quarter against Baylor, but they fought back to make it close in the end. This Iowa State team has a lot of fight in them, and they are a very well-coached team under Matt Campbell. Looking at Kansas now, they have been the college football sweethearts so far this season. They are off to their first 4-0 start since 2009, and they received plenty of praise and just hope for them to get into the top 25, but they are just sitting at 26th in the AP poll. They are right outside looking in. The Jayhawks offense, led by quarterback Jalen Daniels, has been very dynamic. They are averaging 48.5 points per game, and Daniels has a QBR of 98. That is the best in the nation. The quarterback Jalen Daniels is also a potent runner. He leads the team in rushing yards, and he has 4 touchdowns rushing on the year as well. The Jayhawks defense has been less impressive than their offense, but they are currently allowing an average of 27.3 points per game. This ranks second to last in the Big 10, and their yards per game allowed is dead last in the Big 12. I realize I just said Big 10. I misspoke. My apologies. Taking a look at the ESPN's Football Power Index, they give Iowa State the slight edge with a 61.3% chance to win this one, and I had a tough time going on who I would pick in this one. I wrestled with it back and forth, but I just can't pick against the Jayhawks. They're playing too hot right now, and everybody loves them, and I want to keep seeing this team win as much as possible. So I'm taking Kansas to get the win at home. Looking at the next game on the docket, it's number 17 Texas A&M versus Mississippi State. This one is a 4 p.m. game and it can be seen on SEC Network. Texas A&M is coming off a narrow victory over Arkansas. The Aggies' offense has continued to play at a less than impressive pace. Currently, this offense is averaging 21.3 points per game, and they are currently allowing more yards per game than they are gaining. The Aggies have also lost one of their top receivers who is out for the year. The defense for A&M has been very impressive. They are currently allowing an average of 11.8 points per game, which is one of the best marks in the nation. Looking at Mississippi State, they are coming off a blowout win over Bowling Green. Quarterback Will Rogers has been leading the charge offensively for the Bulldogs. Rogers is currently second in the nation in passing yards and is tied for first in passing touchdowns. On defense, the Bulldogs are right in the middle of the SEC, currently allowing an average of 21 points per game and allowing an average of 319 yards per game. Texas A&M's defense will have its hands full against Rogers and this passing attack from Mississippi State, but if they can slow down Will Rogers, they should have a good chance at winning this game. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Mississippi State has a 68.7% chance to win this game, and what might be an upset to some, I am going to take the Bulldogs to get the win at home. This might be going out on a bit of a limb here, but I just like these matchups. I don't think Texas A&M's offense can hang with Mississippi State's, but then again, Texas A&M's defense is very capable of slowing down Mississippi State's offense to where that they can keep this game close. So this will be an interesting one to look at. Taking a look at the next game on the agenda, it's a West Coast showdown. It's California versus Washington State. This one's a 5:30 Eastern Time game, and this one can be seen on the Pac-12 network. California is coming off a high-scoring victory over Arizona, and the week before that, they played Notre Dame all the way down to the wire on the road. California has won games by just simply finding a way, similar to Iowa State. It has not always been the flashiest, but they have been winning. This Bears offense is averaging 30 points per game, and they have been able to run and pass the ball well. On defense, the Golden Bears gave up an average of 20.5 points per game, which ranks 5th in the Big 12. I did it again, in the Pac-12. My apologies. Washington State is coming off a tough defeat to Oregon last week, although despite this loss, the team is playing well, and I believe there is some positive takeaways for this fan base. Transfer quarterback Cameron Ward completed 77% of his passes last week and threw for a season high in yards. Although Ward did have 2 interceptions last week, his continued improvement is a promising sign. On defense, the Cougars are giving up 20.5 points per game, and they have 14 sacks on the year, which is tied for second best in the Pac-12. Looking at the Football Power Index, Washington State has a 53.7% chance to win, and I'm going to take Washington State to get the win at home in Pullman. Looking at the next game on the agenda, it's a primetime showdown, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. It's number 10 North Carolina State versus number 5 Clemson, a top 10 showdown in the ACC. Taking a look at the Wolfpack, NC State is undefeated so far, although they have faced one of the easier schedules thus far. This will be a big road test for the Wolfpack, as this team is a veteran-led group that has taken care of business so far. You may remember a year ago, this NC State team took down Clemson, although it's not this exact NC State team. On the offensive side of the ball for North Carolina State, they are right in the middle of the pack, pun intended, in terms of their statistics. On defense, the Wolfpack are giving up the fewest number of points per game in the ACC. This defense will face an offense that flexed its muscles last week and is certainly capable of putting up points and yards. Turning to Clemson now, they are coming off a nail-biting victory in double overtime over Wake Forest. Clemson's offense has played well so far, and quarterback DJ Uiagalelei has been improving, and he looked good down the stretch, making some clutch throws in the big moments. On defense, the Tigers are allowing an average of 21.8 points per game and 346.3 yards per game. While the Tigers are facing a less explosive offense than Wake Forest possesses, they are facing an experienced group that has some familiarity with this team, and they are capable of making plays for the North Carolina State's offenses. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Clemson has an 83.5% chance to win this game, and I'm going to agree. I will take the Clemson Tigers to get the win at home here and really assert themselves as they are still the class of the ACC. And taking a look at our final game of these 10 sets for this weekend, this one is SMU versus UCF. This one was moved to October 2nd. That is this Sunday. That will be played at 1 p.m. I could not find any television information. This one was moved due to Hurricane Ian making landfall, and we hope that everyone is staying safe down there and is doing well as best they can be in these troubling times. Looking at the Mustangs, SMU started off 2-0, but they have lost 2 close games since to Power 5 schools. The Mustangs are currently averaging 38.5 points per game, and they are putting up over 500 yards per game. Oklahoma transfer quarterback Tanner Mordecai is 3rd in the nation in passing yards, and he has led the charge for this team's air raid style offense. Although I don't know if it's air raid, but they have shown an ability to move the ball well through the air with quarterback Tanner Mordecai. On the defensive side of the ball, SMU is allowing 25.5 points per game, and they are giving up an average of 400 yards per game. SMU ranks 4th in the American in sacks with 11 on the season. So this team has been able to get pressure on the quarterback at times, but they are giving up a decent amount of points and a higher number of yardage. So they've had to win some games through shootouts and just the sheer power of their offense. Looking at UCF now, they have a 3-1 record with back-to-back wins. Quarterback John Rhys Plumlee is leading his team in both rushing yards and passing yards. The Knights are currently averaging 275.8 yards per game on the ground, which is that's the 5th best in the nation. On the defensive side of the ball, the Knights are giving up 13.5 points per game, and that is 2nd best in the American Athletic Conference. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, UCF has a 71.5% chance to win this game, and I'm going to have to agree with the model there. I will take UCF to win this game. I think due to their more stout defense than what SMU possesses, they have the slight edge, and defense will give them the edge in this ball game. And I think the dynamic play of quarterback John Rhys Plumlee will be the difference, as well as their ability to move the ball on the ground. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and special thanks to ESPN for providing all the stats and info I use in these videos in terms of efficiencies, yards per game, all the rankings. All of that is courtesy of ESPN, so thank you very much, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you here next week. I hope everybody enjoys this college football weekend, and I hope your team wins, unless, of course, they're going up against my favorite team. Have a great weekend, everybody.